Justice was a store that brought us bright, colorful, and fun clothing. And as they closed their doors, they took our girlhood along with it. Today, we're gonna talk about how the fall of Justice ushered in the death of tweenhood. Justice was the store for girls when I was growing up. Everything was glittery, colorful, and a little over the top. But I feel like that was the charm. As a little girl, you could walk in and genuinely feel like the store was made for you. I felt like the coolest kid ever wearing their clothes to school. You could get the matching top with the matching sweats, with the matching hoodie, and to tie it all off, the matching backpack with your name monogrammed on it. And you would be able to look good and like cohesive and fit in with your classmates at school who were likely wearing the same thing or something similar. And honestly, as like a young girl who's still trying to figure out her style and what she likes and like what looks good together, these matchy type outfits were actually extremely helpful. I would literally be so excited to get those Justice catalogs in the mail. I desperately wanted like a monogram backpack or a best friends half and half necklace or a necklace with a little sparkly C. I also low-key miss those camis that had the itchy lace on the bottom, or those graphic t-shirts with random corny sayings. My sister got a shirt from there that said "keeping it wheel," and she wore it in her yearbook photo. It was so cute. It had like a little hamster running on a wheel under it. Hopefully she lets me put the yearbook photo in the video. Or those sequin like shirts or pillows that would change color whether you brush them up or brush them down. They also had tankinis, which was great because my mom did not let me wear bikinis growing up. That was a very hard rule. The catalog themes were always very positive and geared towards tweens, with themes like love, peace, friendship. The catalogs were very much a tween dream, with girls laughing and hanging out at sleepovers or at the beach. Justice, I feel like, sold more than clothes. They definitely sold the idea of girlhood community. And unlike most stores for young girls at the time, Justice also sold plus sizes, which meant that little girls didn't have to shop for their clothing in the adult section just to find something that would fit and also not get made fun of for doing so. I don't know if anyone remembers, but they also used to randomly have fashion shows in the stores, and like they would let like the girls that were shopping there be a part of it. And now Walmart sells Justice, and I say they sell Justice, not they have Justice, because realistically they could never have Justice. They cannot realistically recreate that atmosphere that drew us in. And most of the Justice clothes at Walmart are super mid now, and they look like just regular clothes. They don't have that Justice sparkle, you know? And Justice really gave us that in-between space to exist. You know, you weren't a kid anymore and you weren't a teen yet. You were a tween. And I definitely used to take pride in that title. When I was like that age, 9 to like 12, I would be pissed whenever my mom would say that I was still a kid, because I was definitely a tween. Okay, now let's talk about when Justice closed. So Justice actually started off as a spin-off to Limited 2. Limited 2 was originally a brand meant for older teens, so that like 14 to like 19 age range, but that age group began to favor brands like Abercrombie and Fitch and Hollister over the Limited 2's rhinestones and sparkles. So Limited 2 eventually became more popular with the tween community. So Limited 2's distributors decided to phase out Limited 2 and create Justice, which was specifically meant for that younger teen/tween demographic, like 8 to 12-year-olds. And it's actually kind of ironic because Justice closed down for similar reasons as Limited 2, because now the 8 to 12-year-old tween groups are less interested in the rhinestone and sparkles of Justice and prefer to shop at older type stores. So Justice and Limited 2 closed for the same reason, and that is their target audience was growing up too fast. So when Justice shut down for good in 2020, it wasn't just about losing the store, it left a real gap in the market and a gap in girlhood as well. There aren't many spaces for that tween phase anymore. Most brands either sell to little kids or just straight to teenagers. So younger girls start shopping at the same stores as adults, even if they're 10, 11, 12. I feel like now it's not even that there isn't a Justice, because even if there was still Justice, they would not want to be shopping there. Think about stores like Addicted. I went to the one in Soho literally 2 weeks ago, and when you go inside, it's almost Justice adjacent. It's super pink, super cutesy. There's like a big like heart decor in the smack dab in the middle of the store. You would think that it's a store for like younger girls. Like I went with my mom and she's like, why would you bring us here? This is a store for children. And it definitely gives off that same girly energy that Justice had. But when you actually look at the clothes, it's stuff that I would wear now, and I'm 25. It was all super short, super cropped, a lot of see-through items, but like it was little girl shopping there. It's like the brands kept the aesthetic of youngness and youth, but they took away the actual innocence of it. And I feel like now that's why a lot of like tweens don't really have that awkward stage. And honestly, maybe I'm just hating because I was like very much chopped at that age, but I feel like you're low-key supposed to be chopped at that age. Let's talk about what changed. Honestly, I genuinely feel like unk even talking about this, but it is something I've noticed, and I'm not even here to say like whether it's good or bad, like it's just an observation. I think it's just interesting how quickly things change and how the priorities of kids changed. And I definitely think having access to phones has accelerated the maturation process. Because I mean, if kids are watching like the same influencers as us, obviously they're gonna want to be like them in the same way that we want to be like the influencers we watch. And there's really no preteen stage anymore. There's no Justice. There's barely a Claire. I feel like kids now are just going straight to Lulu, Sephora. That being said, as a counter argument, I guess, the concept of tweenhood and childhood is relatively new. Like it began in the 90s and ended, I guess, now. So it was more of like a social experiment for our Gen Z generation, because realistically, like in the 1920s, like kids were working in factories. There was no preteen stage. They just went straight to work. I feel like it's just something that like I might have experienced, or like 90s babies as well might have experienced. I still think that social media definitely blurred that awkward figuring out stage we all went through. And Justice particularly worked because it didn't rush you into being older. It met you exactly where you were. And once it disappeared, so did that space. I think that's what people miss most when they joke about the Justice era. Yes, the clothes were loud and sparkly and honestly a little bit cringe. They were made for kids or tween. There was nothing wrong with wanting a neon pink hoodie that said BFF in rhinestones. Looking back, I totally get why we loved it so much. It was one of the last places that represented our girlhood and like the kind of ridiculous, simple, fun aspects of girlhood, and I kind of miss it. All right, let me know what you thought of this video, if you have any thoughts about anything I said. Also, if you miss Justice and what you miss about it. See you in the next one. Bye.